Look around us. What I see around us is staggering complexity. Species of almost 7 billion individuals linked by trade, travel, and the internet into a global system of stupendous complexity. We live in a strange world, with strange people and in ways that no one could ever imagine. But how we got here, how we know what we are and why we are what we seem and believe to be. We thought we knew every aspect of human life and part of the surrounding universe. We gave birth to a digital and technological child that was meant to be under control. But the truth is, it grew too fast before we could stop it. It all started 13.7 billion years ago. Around us, there was nothing. Immersed the darkest, emptiest thing you can, and that's where we are. And then, suddenly, bang! A universe appears, an entire universe smaller than an atom. It is just a blur, but within the first second, energy itself shatters into distinct forces including electromagnetism and gravity, and congeals to form matter. We move forward 300,000 years. Simple atoms of hydrogen and helium appear. Then each cloud's compacted gravity gets more powerful, the temperature rises, protons start to fuse, and bam! Stars begin to appear all through the universe, billions of them, and we cross to new thresholds. When stars die, they create temperatures so high that protons fuse in all sorts of exotic combinations, forming the elements of the periodic table and creating a more complex universe. Then all these elements combine and they form planets and moons. Now, the going gets tougher. Living organisms are created by chemistry, and chemistry is dominated by the electromagnetic force, and planets have the right amount of it. You also need great diversity of chemical elements. You need liquid, such as water, so that atoms can cuddle and link up to form molecules. Our Earth was just perfect, and right beneath its oceans, atoms combine in all sorts of exotic combinations. But how do you stabilize those huge molecules that seem to be viable? Well, you don't stabilize the individual, you stabilize the template, the thing that carries information, the DNA. And DNA also copies itself, scattering the templates through the ocean. As it copies itself, once in every billion ranks, there tends to be an error. That means that DNA is learning new ways of making living organisms because some of those errors work. And this happens over the last 4 billion years. We've been accumulating information for the 200,000 years, but we still wonder how the brain works, who we are, and the utility of the things we created. It's time to get amazed. So what do we know about the human brain? What should you know? What do we need to know in order to understand our behavior, identity, and learning? First of all, you should know that the brain keeps growing after early ages, through adolescence and into 20s and the 30s. So adolescence is defined as the period of life that starts with the biological, hormonal, physical changes of puberty and ends at the age at which an individual is a stable, independent role in society. One of the brain regions that changes most dramatically during adolescence is called prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex is an interesting brain area. It's involved in a whole range of high-level cognitive functions, things like decision-making, planning, or inhibiting inappropriate behavior. It's also involved in social interaction, understanding other people, and self-awareness. You should also know that the peak of gray matter volume happens a couple of years later in boys relative to girls. That's probably because boys go through puberty a couple of years later than girls on average, and then during adolescence, there's significant decline in gray matter volume in prefrontal cortex. But we are interested in the social brain, that is the network of brain regions that we use to understand other people and to interact with other people. We are especially interested in the middle prefrontal cortex, which is right in the middle of the prefrontal cortex in the midline of our head. This region is more active in adolescents when they make social decisions and think about other people than it is in adults. We know that adolescents have a tendency to take risks. They do. They take more risks than children or adults, and they are particularly prone to taking risks when they are with their friends. So brain research has shown that the adolescent brain undergoes really quite profound development, and this has implications for education, for rehabilitation, and intervention. The environment, including teaching, can and does shape the developing adolescent brain, and this is an excellent opportunity for education and social development. So what do we know about video games? Well, actually, the first thing you might think is that maybe 90% of kids play video games. It's true, but 70% of the average person is a 33 years old man. So the future is this. Quite funny, huh? Well, most people would think, why do you spend all your day playing games where you kill zombies or you go on missions saving people? Do you like passing all day shooting? Well, it's quite important to understand positive impact of video games on the human brain. So to do this, we need to tackle the two most common critics. The first one, screen time makes your eyesight worse. Is that true? Well, this is the non-gamer vision. Then, if you keep playing 5 hours of gaming per week, you should be completely blind. That's not totally true. Actually, you can see better than a non-gamer. There. This means that you can read smaller letters without using a magnifying glass, and that you can distinguish between different degrees. Well, the first hypothesis is taken out. The second one is that playing video games leads to attention problems and greater stability. Well, this isn't actually true. For example, an adult person can control from 3 to 4 moving points. Take this example. Can you see the 3 points moving? The blue ones? Now tell me, the gray one, was it blue or yellow? Right? So, a gamer person can actually control from 6 to 7 moving points. This means that the gamer is really good at multitasking. This is not the same as multimedia tasking. A recent study of the Stanford University actually proved that multimedia taskers are really bad at multitasking. But how can we prove this? Well, we give to a certain group of persons a determined number of tasks. Then, we just submitted them to a 2-week program of video games. They just played 10 hours per week, and after those 2 weeks, they were subjected to the same tasks. The results were actually good. Before this program, they did it quite well, but after the 2-week program, their results increased a lot. And the most interesting thing is that the result was still there after 5 months. And this is really interesting when we talk about education and rehabilitation through video games. Now what about mobile phones? They totally changed the way we live. It wasn't normal for us to see a politician checking his smartphone at the chamber in public. It wasn't normal for us to see parents smiling at their smartphone at breakfast while their kids are talking to them. And what happened to our friends meeting? Why there's the need to upload content to Facebook or Instagram? What's happening to us? And funerals are not the same. People always try to escape, to don't feel the moment. We've never been so much alone together. And the thing is that people enjoy this Goldilocks. Relationships are not too close, neither too far. They are at the right distance. Somehow, we manage to change our relations by connections. You don't mean to be sent. And this way, we convince ourselves that the feeling that no one is listening is gone. But that's exactly the trick. We are tempted by machines who offer us companion, and the saddest thing is that we expect more from technology than from others. They hit us exactly where we are most vulnerable. We are lonely, but we are afraid of intimacy. They give the world the illusion of a companionship without the demands of friendship, and suddenly being alone seems to be a problem that needs to be solved. We changed our way of living. I share, therefore I am. Suddenly there's a need to share, to exist. But the more we share, the more isolated we are, because we can't find solitude, we can't find ourselves, and so we can't give ourselves to the world. This is our evidence. If we don't teach our children to be alone, they will only know how to be alone. It is time to talk. It is time to be finally together.